Anything you can tell us about Paige?
No, other than, the doctors did a quick examination and, they're going to wait for the ice to come off and then don't know more. And then, an MRI. But on the replay, it looked like it probably hyperextended. Best case scenario.
But, it is a knee, not the ankle.
That's her knee, yeah. But nothing twisted, according to the doctor. Like it didn't, which is really, really bad. So hopefully, we'll get some good news tomorrow. But that's that.
Talk about Olympia's performance today down low. And second part is, was it good to see Caroline Ducharme finally see the practice translate to the game, especially after she really struggled?
Yeah.
Particularly that first part.
Yeah. I thought Liv had a great day today. Liv's put together some really solid performances, especially defensively and, rebounding the ball. She had 14 and 13, something like that. So we just got to get her to be less aggressive going after block shots, because we can't afford to have her in foul trouble. But I like how she's demanding the ball more, being more assertive. We need a combination of inside outside. So that's been really a big plus. And yeah, Caroline made me look stupid when I kept saying how well she was practicing and how excited I was for her. And today, she kind of showed a glimpse of the things that she can do. She's a tough kid who I think enjoys, these kind of games and this kind of environment. And I think playing a game like today on national television against Notre Dame and all that, I think that's going to help her a ton going forward,
Follow up on Liv. Can you talk about how the game with Georgia Tech came together and how important is it for you to get, players like her homecoming games?
Yeah, it's getting harder all the time. Coaches at other schools are not very cooperative when it comes to that kind of stuff. Some are, some are really willing to schedule a game for a local kid, especially since it's us and it's probably going to be the biggest crowd you have. So I think it benefits, Liv and her family and friends that she grew up with, and it benefits, I think, Georgia Tech. Nell was very, very accommodating. Like, yeah, sure. We'll do it. Let's just find the date. It wasn't very difficult at all, and I'm happy that it came together the way it did.
Coach, just the other day against Seton Hall, you were just speaking of mental toughness about your team. And Liv sometimes get lost. Mm-hmm. Was that something that you had to really speak to a one-on-one? Because she started out differently early in the half and continuing to. Yeah. Could you talk about that as far as her play and being mentally tough up to the challenge today?
Yeah, I think the biggest change, really, the biggest change in Liv probably occurred during the South Carolina game, where she more than held her own for long stretches of the game, and then kind of got worn down a little bit. And I think that really illuminated for her, this is what I can be. Because we can talk about it all we want. We can show her film, and we can, do all the things that most of the coaches do with their players. But until you actually do it, until you actually experience it. And I bet you for the first time in her career at UConn, Liv was really devastated after that South Carolina game. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you put into it. And the more you put into it, the more it hurts when you're not successful at the end of the game. So I think that really changed things for Liv. We're still not there yet, but we're way ahead of where we were before, and I'm guessing it's going to keep getting better.
At the risk of sounding, like, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? But Notre Dame did make some runs there and came within 6. And so how pleased were you with the response of this team, given what happened with South Carolina?
Yeah, I think when they write the history of UConn women's basketball, we have this thing on our board, play hard, play smart, have fun. I think when they write the history of UConn women's basketball, I don't think this team will be included in that chapter of play smart. So right now, we've got some work to do in that area. We're our own worst enemy. And in the first half, we're up 10 at halftime, and it should have been 20-something. When you turn the ball over again and again, dumb ones too, not like really, hey, that was a good pass. They just made a great defensive play. Just dumb stuff. And you're not going to be able to beat the best teams if you continue to do that. So it would have been easy for us to mentally kind of check out for long stretches, but we didn't. And we came out in the second half with a sense of purpose. This is what we have to do. And how you can tell, like, we're not there yet. We're not even close to being there yet, where, you get up 10, you get up 12 maybe, and then you get 3 stops in a row, and you don't capitalize at the other end to make it a 20-point game. Or you make them miss, offensive rebound, foul, now you give them 3 points. So it's like they come at the worst time for this team right now. And the fact that we came out and played the way we played in the fourth quarter, that's a good sign that we're making progress.
Kind of going off of that, is there anything that sticks out besides maybe just not playing smart about why the turnovers, just offensive flow has been an issue especially? I know incorporating new pieces has to do with that, but with specifically like the starters and people who have returned, why the kind of lack of flow is still there?
We're not very bright. Our basketball IQ at times leaves a lot to be desired. We don't see things that are open, and then we try to do things that aren't open. One of the things that we've been harping about the last 9 or 10 days is, being patient. The ball comes here, you look there. Now it's the ball comes here, I don't even give you a look, and I throw it there. Meanwhile, that guy's wide open. So part of it is we're playing too fast. We're not letting things develop the way you need to run efficient offense. Not enough people making outside shots. So now you start to force things. That's usually the crux of it. We got a couple people right now that aren't really comfortable shooting the ball, which, I think when Caroline came in, I think she changed the complexion of the game. Everything looks good when you make shots. Everything looks good.
Geno, would you be willing to share any feedback Paige gave you, how she was feeling physically and even emotionally through kind of a scary moment? And just what goes through your mind when you see a player, any player really, have to be carried off the courts?
Yeah, when you play enough basketball, when you play enough and you coach enough and you've seen enough basketball, you've pretty much seen it all, and we've certainly had our share, here of unfortunate things happen. And, you just kind of, shake your head and hope that you didn't see it, or what you saw wasn't as bad as you think it might be, or, or as it appeared. But you immediately put yourself in that kid's shoes, and what are they thinking? How are they feeling right now? What's going through their mind when something like that happens? And, that's the part that I think really hits you in the pit of your stomach, And sometimes right away, this is really, really, really bad. I've seen it. And sometimes, you don't see it coming, and it's nothing. I remember when Sue was playing, she just dribbled up the floor, stopped at the foul line, went up for a pull-up jumper, the kind she makes, 99 out of 100 times, and came down and went, that felt funny. Well, it should. It was a torn ACL. Nobody near it. Same with Paige, So initial report is, she might have hyperextended it, but I think the first thing that goes through your mind is the worst thing.
And it was the right knee, right?
Left.
Oh, it was the left knee?
Yeah, left. Left knee.
Geno, Paige had kind of gone down once or twice that quarter already and kind of looked like it was a hard fall. Had she asked to stay in the game, or?
So is that?
Paige had gone down previously
Yeah.
in the fourth quarter. Did she ask to kind of stay in the game, or why was she on the court still?
She never comes out. She never wants to come out. She's a pain in the ass to have on the bench, because all she does is complain about why she's not playing. And we've made a concerted effort in the last 3 or 4 games to get her some rest during the game. And you're right. I don't have an answer for why she was in the game. I mean, that could happen anytime. It could happen in practice. It could happen in a game. It could happen anytime. But yeah, I don't like our team without her on the court. I mean, I might have to like it if she misses any time. But, I don't like the way our team looks when she's not on the floor.
And just to follow up on the next question, how were her teammates, just what you saw from them in that moment?
2 of them said it's her ankle, so they're not going to medical school. Obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I can't get inside their heads, but I'm sure part of it is that could be me. That could have been me. And I think, you get a little shell-shocked, a little fear whenever you see that happen. Whether it's one of your teammates, whether it's an opponent, every time you see that, you're always just cross your fingers and hope for the best.
Geno, I started counting, and all but one time when one of your guards would get 6 feet into the paint, you scored.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen very often.
Right.
Is that something that is, why are they not doing that more often?
I've got all their cell phones. You can text them and ask them why. I wish I had the answer to that. I don't. Because there was a bunch of times in the second half when we got in there and we turned and found wide open 3-point shooters. So obviously, getting in the lane is a huge priority for us. And when it does happen, good things happen. Why doesn't it happen enough? I'm not getting my point across, I guess, to them. Why don't our big guys screen better or more? They want the ball in the lane. I said...
And this could be dumb, but it looked like they were, for part of the game, at least in a 1-3-1, and leaving the baseline completely open.
It's a 2-3 zone. They just started a different way. And there were a bunch of open shots from the corner. Nika made one. Caroline immediately, when she got in, we made a point to but there was just not enough not enough confidence in some of these guys to go to those spots and catch it and shoot it. I'd rather you shoot and miss than not shoot it, right? At least we can get the rebound when you shoot it. You know, I've been trying to come up with a plan where we can score without shooting. They would have to change the name of the game, though. It wouldn't be called basketball anymore, you know? Put the ball in the basket. I think we got to reiterate that that's what it's called for a reason.
Coach, could you talk about Christian Williams' defense the last couple of games at Parker Lane and Olivia Miles? Because she shut both of them guards down pretty much last 2 games.
Yeah, Kristen's not having a good run here offensively. You know, she'd be the first to tell you it's not at all. And, you know, our big thing is you got to contribute somehow, right? You're coming down and you're making a bunch of shots, or you got to go down and you got to play good defense, get stops, get in, get out, you know, in transition. She got a couple of those. And she should be a really good defender. You know, she's strong enough, she's quick enough. You know, and probably of all of our guards, she's the one that ends up getting the toughest assignment on the other team. She did a good job against Seton Hall, and she did a good job today. Not the easiest thing in the world with the new rules, you know, to keep people in front of you. So her offense will come back. But in the meantime, you know, she's got something to hang her hat on. You know, she can play good defense for us.
Coach, before the game, you had several players honored with a monument outside for their participation in the Olympics. And how does the Connecticut program prepare players for international success?
All those players that came here that were part of that Olympic ceremony today, and that didn't even include Steph Dolson. I don't think she was here. Nafisa Collier. Was Steph here? Yeah. Okay. I didn't.
Tina wasn't here, for instance.
Yeah, Tina, Maya, Stewie, Fisa. Yeah, we've had our share, right? Players who have gone on to play on the Olympic team. And I think some of that is, you know, we recruit, we try to anyway, the best high school basketball players. And then when they get here, we try really hard to make them the best college players. And if we can do that, then they go on to the WNBA and they're WNBA All-Stars. So they dominate all 3 areas, and that naturally leads to Olympic success. You know, obviously a bunch of it is talent. You know, a bunch of it is a certain drive. You know, during recruiting, we talk to kids about that. You know, the kids that come here, they want to win a national championship. You know, they hope they make an All-America team, and they want to represent USA basketball in the Olympics. Those are the 3 things that, you know, kids tell me, the ones that become really good anyway. Doesn't always work with every player, but I think it's worked better here than any other place in America. Yeah. I'm pretty proud of all those guys. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Really was. To see them all. Asia came to practice yesterday and spoke to the team. It's really good for them to hear from former players, you know. The tradition here is, I don't think our teams ever want to let down any of our former players, especially when they're at the game, you know. Because you know they're going to go in the locker room and bitch at these guys if they don't play well. Thanks, guys.